Hello children, let's continue our session. Let's have a recap of the chapter cell structure and functions, whatever we have learnt in the last session. We have learnt about different parts of the cell. First, we have learnt about cell membrane. The basic components of a cell are cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. That is, under the parts of the cell, we have learned what are the three basic components of the cell. Three components of the cell are cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. And cytoplasm and nucleus are enclosed within the cell membrane, also called as plasma membrane. Cell membrane encloses cytoplasm and nucleus. Cell membrane is otherwise called as plasma membrane. And what are the functions of plasma membrane? The plasma membrane separates cell from one another and also the cell from the surrounding medium. As the plasma membrane is porous, it allows the movement of substances or materials both inward and outward. And also we have learned that cell membrane gives shape to the cell. And in addition to the cell membrane, there is an outer thick layer in the cell of plants, what we call that as cell wall. That is, plant cell has one more addition layer outer of the cell membrane, what we call that as cell wall. Then we have learned the reason why plant cells need cell wall. The additional layer surrounding the cell membrane is called a cell wall, and it is required by plants for their protection. Plant cells need protection against variations in temperature, high wind speed, atmospheric moisture, etc. They are exposed to these variations because they cannot move. As they cannot move, to protect them from these variations like high temperature, high wind speed, atmospheric moisture, they have additional covering outside the cell membrane called as cell wall. And then we have learnt about cytoplasm. What is cytoplasm? It is a jelly-like substance present between the cell membrane and the nucleus. So the jelly-like substance which is present between the cell membrane and the nucleus is called as cytoplasm. And what it does, it provides space for various other components. The various other components of cell is also called as organelles of cells. It provides space to the organelles of cells or various components of the cells like mitochondria, Golgi bodies, ribosomes, vacuole, lysosomes, etc. So these are all different cell organelles. What do you mean by cell organelles? Cell components, otherwise called as cell organelles. And where are they present? These cell organelles are present in the cytoplasm. So cytoplasm provides place or space for these various components of cell, or what we call that as organelles. Now let's continue the basic component of the cell, nucleus. So what is nucleus? It is an important component of the living cell, and it is generally spherical in shape, and it is located at the center of the cell. In animal cell, the nucleus is present at the center of the cell, but in plant cell, the nucleus is present near the cell membrane. Why? What is the reason? We will learn it afterwards. But you should know, where is nucleus present? Nucleus usually present at the center of the cell. In animal cell, nucleus is present at the center, and in plant cell, it is present near the cell membrane. That is near the corner, not at the center. And it is usually spherical in shape. And it can be stained. When it is stained, when it is colored, we can easily see with the help of microscope. And now nucleus is separated from cytoplasm by a membrane called the nuclear membrane. How cell is covered by a cell membrane? The same way nucleus is surrounded by a nuclear membrane. What is nuclear membrane? The nucleus is covered by a membrane called as nuclear membrane, by which it separates nucleus and the cytoplasm. And the nuclear membrane is also porous, means it has pores, and thus it allows the material between the cytoplasm and inside the nucleus. As how plasma membrane, it allows the substances in and out of the cell. The same way nuclear membrane also allow the substances in and out of the nucleus, that is to the cytoplasm as well as to the from the nucleus to the cytoplasm and from the cytoplasm to the nucleus. And with a microscope, with a high magnification, we can see the spherical body in the nucleus. In last session also we have seen about the onion peel and the epithelial, there's cheek cell of human being. We have seen that nucleus, the spherical shaped body. Isn't it? We have used the stain color. When it is colored or when it is stained, we can see the nucleus. And one more, inside the nucleus also, we can see the spherical body, round body inside the nucleus, what we call that as nucleolus. So what is nucleolus? Inside the nucleus, the smaller spherical body is called as nucleolus. And other than this nucleus also contains thread-like structure called as chromosomes. And chromosomes, they carry genes and help in the inheritance of transfer of characters from the parents to the offspring. And the chromosome can be seen only when the cell divides. So basically, what are the components of nucleus? If you see, nuclear membrane, nucleolus, thread-like structure, what we call that as chromosomes, and genes. Chromosome carry genes. So these are the basic component of nucleus, basic parts of nucleus. And in addition to the, so now we have learned that nucleus, what character due to presence of chromosome, it carry the hereditary characters from one generation to other generation, isn't it? So in addition to this role in inheritance, they also act as a control center of the activities of the cell. How in our body, brain, it controls all the organ. The same way in the cell, nucleus control the activities of the cell, and the content of the living cell is known as protoplasm. Or that cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance present between nucleus and the cell membrane, and entire content of the cell is known as protoplasm. So protoplasm, it includes cytoplasm as well as nucleus. So protoplasm is called as living substance of the cell. Now children, so what is protoplasm? The entire content of the cell, like cytoplasm and nucleus, is called as protoplasm. And protoplasm is called as living substance of the cell. See children, here if you see that nucleus, here the picture shows only the nucleus, not the cell. Here nucleus, it is located at the center of the cell, and it consists of, what are the different parts of the nucleus we have seen just now? Nuclear membrane, the outer covering of the nucleus, that blue color, it is called as nuclear membrane. Then fluid substance, what it is called as nucleoplasm. And inside one more small spherical body, it is called as nucleolus. And thread-like structure, what it is called as nuclear material or chromatin reticulum, or further what it is divided and seen as chromosomes. So chromosomes can be seen only during cell division. So these are all basic components of nucleus. So what were nuclear membrane, or you can call that as nuclear envelope, the covering, nuclear envelope, or otherwise called as nuclear membrane. You can see that it has pores. It is not a continuous envelope covering. It has small pores around it. Okay, you can see in the figure. So what it is called as nuclear pore. And then nucleoplasm, the fluid substance present inside the nucleus, is called as nucleoplasm. And then thread-like structure, what we called as chromatin reticulum, which during cell division it forms chromosomes. And inside you can see one more small spherical body, what we call that as nucleolus. So these are the basic component of nucleus. And then just we will see one by one. So first again, what is nuclear membrane? The membrane or the envelope that separates the nucleus from the cytoplasm, and this membrane it has pores which allow the exchange of materials. And then what is nucleoplasm? It is the fluid-like substance. So we can call that as it is a cytoplasm of nucleus. Jelly-like substance present in the cell is called a cytoplasm. So the same way jelly-like substance present in the fluid substance present in the nucleus is called as nucleoplasm, or we can call that as cytoplasm of nucleus. So what is cytoplasm of nucleus? It is nucleoplasm. And then we have seen about nucleolus. What is nucleolus? A small oval or spherical shaped body which is seen inside the nucleus is called as nucleolus, and it is rich in protein and RNA. RNA is nothing but ribonucleic acid, and it is the place for ribosome formation. That and all extra information you will learn in detailed manner in your higher classes. Just you have to keep in mind what is nucleolus. A small spherical body which is seen inside the nucleus is called as nucleolus. And nuclear material is nothing but a chromatin reticulum. That network, reticulum means network like structure which is seen here inside the nucleus is called as nuclear material, or you can call that as chromatin. And the chromatin contain chromosomes, and this chromosome is made up of DNA and proteins. And as part of DNA, that is segment of DNA, what we call that as genes. And these genes, they act as a hereditary vehicles. Vehicles means it carry hereditary characters from one generation to other generation. So this is about nuclear material is nothing but what we call that as chromosome, chromatin. And so now let us learn in detail about genes. So we know that gene is a unit of inheritance in living organisms. That is, it controls the transfer of hereditary characters from parents to offspring. Offspring means younger, next generation offspring. And this means that our parents pass some of their characters to us, isn't it? Suppose, for example, if your father has brown eyes, and you may also have brown eyes, and if your mother has curly hair, you might also end up having curly hair. That is, both the parent character is passed from them to us through genes. Got it? And that is why we resemble our parents, isn't both the parents? We resemble both the parents. That is, some way I resemble our father, your father, and hair. Whether if your father has curly hair, you may have curly hair. If the skin color, shape of the nose, everything, all it is, we get it from any one of the parent. So we resemble both the parents. How this different combination of genes from parents result in different characteristics. That is why we human being are unique. We don't resemble exactly each other, isn't it? How this uniqueness comes due to different combination of gene from both the parents result in different characteristics. So if you want to know if the structure of nucleus is the same in cells of plants, animals, and bacteria, structure of nucleus it will be the same in plants, animals, and bacteria. Yes, the nucleus of bacterial cell is not well organized like cells of multicellular organisms like multicellular plants and animals. That is, in bacterial cell, there is no nuclear membrane. That is, nuclear envelope covering of nucleus is not there. The cells having nuclear material, but inside it has nucleolus, chromatin material, other nucleoplasm, that and all they have, but they do not have nuclear membrane. So the cells having nuclear material without nuclear membrane are termed as prokaryotic cell. But children, what prokaryotic cells? The cells which do not have well-defined nucleus. What do you mean by well-defined nucleus? They do not. They should have nuclear membrane. Means nucleus is separated from cytoplasm by nuclear membrane. If it is not, doesn't have nuclear membrane, all it will be present directly in the cytoplasm. So it cannot be differentiated, isn't it? So the cells having nuclear material without nuclear membrane are termed as prokaryotic cells. So the organisms, those who have these kind of cells are called prokaryotes. Pro means primitive. Karyon means nucleus. So primitive nucleus, not well developed nucleus. What children? That is without any nuclear membrane. Examples, bacteria and blue-green algae. So what are prokaryotes? The organism whose cell do not have the nuclear membrane. They have nuclear material without nuclear membrane are called as prokaryotes, and those cells are called as prokaryotic cells. Examples, bacteria and blue-green algae. And the same way, the cells like multicellular organisms, like multicellular plants and animals, like onion cells and cheek cells, they have well-organized nucleus. What do you mean by well-organized nucleus? That is, nuclear material will be covered by a nuclear membrane. They are called as eukaryotic cells. And all the organisms other than bacteria and blue-green algae, they are called as eukaryotes. Eu means true. Karyon means nucleus, true nucleus. That is, they have nuclear membrane. Nuclear material is surrounded by nuclear membrane. And so children, this till now we have learnt about the cell has three main parts: cell membrane, cytoplasm, and cytoplasm contains different cell organelles, and the nucleus. And nucleus, it is separated from the cytoplasm by a nuclear membrane. And cell without well-organized nucleus, that is absence, lacking nuclear membrane. Absence of nuclear membrane, lacking means absent. Like lacking nuclear membrane are called prokaryotic cells. And example, bacteria and blue-green algae. And plant cells different from animal cells. That is, till now we have how do we separate differentiate plant cell and animal cells? Because plant cell, they have one more additional layer around the cell membrane called as cell wall. But in animal cell wall is absent. So till now we have learnt about nucleus in a detailed manner, nucleus, prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell in a detailed manner. Okay children, so we'll end the session here and we will continue in a detailed manner further in a next session. Thank you.